Next up, we have Rebecca Good.
Hello, Chairs McCoy and Curry, Vice Chairs Winfield Leeper, and Ranking Members McCarty and Berthold, and distinguished members of the committee. I'm Dr. Rebecca Good, founding Dean of Relay Connecticut, and now the National Vice Provost for Teacher Preparation at Relay Graduate School of Education. I'm also a proud resident of New Haven, and today I'm lifting my voice in service of aspiring teachers and the future children in their classrooms. I support House Bill 5436. If a clause were to be added to sunset the current regulations by July 2025, setting this date within the bill means we no longer will continue the antiquated approach of our current regulations that continue to deprofessionalize our teaching profession. Without a sunset date for the current regulations by July 2025, the recommendations in this bill could create an even more cumbersome certification process that would then need to be untangled in future legislative sessions. I was an out-of-state classroom teacher who relocated when my husband was stationed at the Coast Guard Academy here in Connecticut. It took years for me to navigate the certification process. Those restrictive regulations are actually still present today. Extensive transcript reviews, credit deficiencies, a menu of required exams. I came with degrees from UC Berkeley, a master's from Teachers College, an out-of-state certificate, an award for District Teacher of the Year, and years of teaching experience. And if I still came today, it still wouldn't be enough if we continue with these regulations. So sunsetting the current regulations by July 2025 at least will ensure out-of-state teachers are not subjected the way I was 18 years ago. As an EPP leader here in the state, I intentionally created an innovative program to diversify the teaching workforce, one of the first teacher residencies in the state. The current regulations are so outdated and cumbersome, they create requirements that increase costs for my students today trying to become teachers. They make it difficult for my EPP to be innovative. And it forces our EPPs to meet regulations designed to prepare teachers for the 1990s. Sunsetting the regulations by July 2025 will modernize the teaching profession. These regulations have been researched, they have been studied, they have been debated, tinkered with, reported on for over 25 years. In fact, 5 years ago, I spent 2 years up here researching the role our Connecticut legislators play in diversifying the teaching workforce. I scoured over 30 years of legislation. I interviewed many members of the Education Committee of 2018, and the number one leading barrier, I'll wrap it up, was the outdated certification regulation. So a role that you can all play in diversifying our workforce would be to set that date in these regulations. I also was a member of the CECC. I'm part of the group that presented this to our commissioner, and I still think you should add that date of July 2025. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Representative Brown.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Dr. Good, for your testimony today. And what you said struck a nerve with me. As most on the committee know, I'm an active classroom teacher, but the experience that I went through to gain my Connecticut teaching certification was very similar to what you just expressed. It took me 5 years because of the bureaucratic red tape involved. And I can't help but think now that I've been teaching, in Connecticut for a while now, but I can't help but think of how many people are the impediment that puts in their way, the barriers that puts in so many people's way that don't have the ability or the funds to be able to take the 5 years of additional coursework, of additional paperwork and transcript reviews that, it sounds like you and as well as myself went through. And we shouldn't allow that to happen. Not, most certainly when we have such a need in our classrooms. And as was said in previous testimony of where those classrooms are, where the biggest need is that we are underserving. Yes. So thank you for your testimony today. Thank you for highlighting that story, my story and yours, because I think sometimes people need to realize how difficult it is to be a teacher in this state. So thank you again. And thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rep. Brown, for those remarks. Any other questions? Oh, yes. Rep. McCarty.
Just wanted to thank you, Dr. Good, for coming out, giving your perspective. Is that your only suggestion on the certification bill?
Oh, no, it's not.
Okay.
As I said, there's much of the bill that I support. If I were to add something to the bill, I would say, because you don't want these regulations coming back up, besides having a very clear date of sunsetting them by 2025, to ensure the efficiency, I would take the members of the CECC and I would roll them into the new board so you don't have to start from scratch. The members on the CECC have been working, many for more than a year before they even were selected to become on the council, have been reviewing all this work. If you start from scratch, you're going to have to back up and do it all over again. And you know what that delay does for our teachers. So I would make that part of the kind of initial setting of this board. I would also have a neutral facilitator facilitating that board. I think you know why I would want a neutral facilitator facilitating that board. I think it makes it go efficient. It's a non-voting member, and it really moves the work forward in a neutral way. Our teachers deserve us to act in a way that is much faster than we have ever done. And fast does not mean sloppy, right? Fast does not mean low quality. Right now, 1990s regulations are low quality. Like, we actually need to modernize to get forward. So those are two things that I would recommend, and I will send you the rest.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Representative.
Thank you so much for your time.